Buying diet plans and workouts, what to look out for and what to expect. There are many ways to approach weight loss, but one of the most popular options these days is to invest in an ebook, an online course, or a set of DVDs. These programs are widely available online and through TV ads, and they promise to make weight loss easy by giving us all the information we need laid out in front of us and removing any and all guesswork. But do these diet plans really work? Are they good value? And what can you do to get the most from them? The cynical view: one thing to consider is that diet plans can often be overpriced and poorly thought out. This is not to say that they are ineffective or that the authors don't know what they are talking about. Often though, the plans are designed in such a way that they will be very difficult to stick to and that most people won't be able to keep them up for long. These can often include elaborate eating plans that involve lots of preparation and cost a lot of money, or they might involve lengthy workouts. Either way, this is not a concern for the author, as from their point of view they will still have sold a product that worked, and the only problem was with your inability to stick with it. Then there is the price. A training program that costs several $100s might be worth it in terms of the results, but there is no getting around the fact that most of the information is probably available online for much less. This makes the product poor value at best and certainly not a good way to spend your cash. The promising aspect that said, this is of course not true for every training program. Some programs will be written with longevity in mind by people who really care. And some will be available for much less, or will include lots of extras, perhaps personalization. Personalization is important in fact, because everyone is different and different training programs work better for different people. With all that in mind, you should have a better idea of what to look for, and hopefully you can decide for yourself what would be good value for such a program. More advice: perhaps the most important tip of all though, is that you mustn't wait for your training program or treat it as gospel. Too often, people will read training programs and buy training programs almost as a form of procrastination. This is like an unspoken agreement between the seller and the buyer. While advice can make a big difference and help you to train faster, the reality is that losing weight should not be complicated and essentially amounts to eating less and exercising more. You can start doing this immediately. There is no need to wait for a training program or diet plan. Don't use it as an excuse. Can a fitness tracker help you to lose weight? Fitness trackers are all the rage right now, with devices from companies like Fitbit selling in huge numbers and being pretty ubiquitous. Wearing a Fitbit is as much a fashion statement as anything else though. This is a way of communicating to the world that you do fitness and that you are up to scratch with modern technology. What's less clear is just whether or not a device like this can really help you to lose weight and get into better shape. Read on and we'll take a look at how something like a Fitbit stacks up in real-world testing and how you can use it to your advantage. The good first, let's take a look at what fitness trackers do well. The first and most important thing that you will get from your fitness tracker is motivation and awareness. At their most basic, fitness trackers are devices that can count steps, pedometers, and tell you roughly how many calories you might have burned on that basis. This can then bring home the reality of your current activity levels. Many of us will be shocked, for instance, at just how little we move during the weekends. Those who work in offices and drive in the mornings equally find that they actually don't move much Monday to Friday. Seeing this reality written in plain English can make it hard to deny and can encourage you to move a little more and to increase your general activity levels. This gets even more powerful when you consider the social elements that many fitness trackers come with. A lot of fitness trackers will also let you see how your friends, family and partner are doing in terms of their fitness goals, or to challenge them to see who can move the most in a set amount of time. This too can be an excellent tool for encouraging more activity and getting you to head outside and move more. Then there are the additional tools and features, things like being able to follow guided workouts and HIIT routines, for instance. There are downsides to fitness trackers too, however. The first is that they are not usually particularly accurate. Heart rate monitoring is only possible to a degree if you aren't wearing a chest strap, and even then, it is only somewhat correlated with calorie burn. Many activities can't be picked up by a fitness tracker at all, and while the notion of making sure you burn more calories than you consume tracked through a fitness tracker and diet app like MyFitnessPal, this can also be an overly simplistic way to monitor your diet that doesn't take into account such things as your micronutrients or your hormonal balance. In short, a fitness tracker is a fantastic tool for helping with your weight loss, and it can be very useful. However, it is also important not to rely on them or to perceive them as any kind of silver bullet that will help you to magically lose all your weight. How to get six-pack abs? Most guys say that they want to lose their belly fat and would like to get a flat stomach. While this is an understandable aim, however, it is also a rather unambitious one. Because surely what most guys would really like is to have a ripped set of six-pack abs. A six-pack is one of the best indicators of overall health and fitness. It's a look that the opposite sex finds highly attractive, and that is most often sported by Hollywood actors, cover models and top actors. It also happens to be functionally very useful and able to improve your performance in just about every movement in sport. So how do you go about getting the look? Diet. The first thing, of course, is to diet. That means you need to try to maintain a rough caloric deficit, as well as concentrating on precisely how and when you are eating your food in order to try and ensure that you don't encourage your body to store any more fat than necessary. Doing this will allow you to lower your body fat percentage, and this is important because it is what will allow you to get your abs to show through your stomach. Often you will hear that you will have visible abs as long as your body fat is sub 10%. This is true, as at this low level of fat, even underdeveloped abs will protrude and be visible. However, if you combine exercise as well, see the next section, then you won't need to get your percentage that low. Someone like Chris Evans, Captain America, is a great example of how good your abs can look at around 12 to 15%. Exercise. With that in mind, then, you also need to focus on training your abs to increase their strength and make them thicker and thus more visible. To see how this can look, try contracting your abs right now. You'll find they instantly become more visible, which shows just what a difference the size of these muscles makes. Your abs are actually made up from multiple muscle groups, but the part that creates the six-pack look is called the rectus abdominis. This is the sheet of muscle on the front of the stomach that is used in order to prevent the body from bending backwards and to help us lean forward. To train this area, then, you need to perform exercise that involve bending forward, such as sit-ups and crunches. What's important is to make sure you feel the rectus abdominis doing the work and that you are folding at the stomach. In other words, do not allow yourself to bend at the hips, in which case you won't really be working the abs at all. Another tip is to train the transverse abdominis too. This is the band of muscle that wraps around the core and that holds the stomach in while supporting the back. This is what will help to keep your stomach flat, while the rectus abdominis gives it the detail. How to get the body of a fighter who has the best body in the world? Is it the swimmer with their broad lats, wide shoulders and low body fat? Is it the gymnast with their incredible upper body strength? Or is it the cover model, with their toned abs and large arms? That answer may be up for debate, but in many ways it is easy to suggest that it is the fighter who has the best body. That's because this is ultimately what the body is for helping us to track prey, to fight with competitors and to move heavy objects. As men, our attractiveness is based on our ability to protect our partners and provide for our families. And thus, if you have the appearance of a real warrior, you will look lean, powerful and attractive to women. Not only that, but you will command respect among your peers and have a greater presence and authority in a range of settings. The question then is, how do you get such a body? And what does the body of a fighter even look like? The body of a fighter. When we say body of a fighter, we are not really referring to boxers. Boxers tend to have a higher body fat percentage and more rounded look. Rather, we are talking about martial artists who tend to look highly honed and lean. These are fast and powerful fighters that look healthy and mean. They also tend to have certain features that are more dominant than others. As well as low body fat, they tend to have large triceps, pecs like armor plating and ripped midsections. How to develop speed and power? The most important principle to keep in mind when looking to transform the body is said. This stands for specific adaptations to imposed demands. In other words, the challenges you face the body with will trigger changes that make it better able to cope with those same challenges in future. Thus, one of the best ways to get a fighter's body is to hit a punch bag. This is a great way to develop hand-eye coordination, to build muscle in the shoulders, pecs, abs and triceps, and to burn fat through concurrent training, cardio with added resistance. To get started, find some combinations and throw these repeatedly until you are too tired to continue. Remember to use your hips and legs to drive the punches forward. Combine this with lifting heavy weights using compound movements. This will train the entire body in unison while demanding maximum muscle fiber recruitment and coordination from the body. Diet. On top of the correct training, it is also crucial for a fighter to eat the right diet. This should be a diet that is high in protein to support muscle synthesis, as well as complex carbohydrates and fats to provide a steady supply of energy for training. As is always the case, simple carbohydrates such as cake and chocolate should be left out, as these provide no benefit for the body while encouraging weight gain. Top hacks for weight loss. Looking to lose weight fast? Then unfortunately there is no substitute for simple exercise and healthy eating. While this is true though, it's also true that you can make life a little easier for yourself with a few smart tricks to speed up the process and help you lose weight more efficiently. Read on and we'll take a look at some of the best hacks out there for more rapidly melting away fat. Cut out sugary drinks. Did you know that a soda drink like 7-Up has as much sugar in it as multiple cream eggs? Too often we forget about what we drink, but actually, this is often responsible for a lot of additional calories. Just as important as this are creamy coffees like cappuccinos, which are also very calorific, and of course alcoholic beverages like beer. Switch to water and you'll instantly burn a lot more calories. And the rest. There are other sources of calories that are very often overlooked. These include things like butter on your bread and sugar in your tea. Make sure that all calories are accounted for. Eat more slowly. Eating more slowly can help you to feel fuller and digest your food better, meaning you get greater vitamin and mineral absorption. If you struggle with this, make a conscious effort to chew a certain number of times on each mouthful. Drink more water. Drinking more water will accelerate your metabolism and once more help you to digest your food better and break it down more. Exercise. First thing in the morning while you sleep, you are not able to eat. This means that you are essentially fasting, and when you wake up, you will have very low blood sugar and a high amount of fat-burning hormones like adrenaline. If you exercise during this time, then your body will have no choice but to burn fat. Studies show that as a result, fasted cardio helps you to burn more fat and more calories than regular exercise. Try going for a run first thing in the morning. Eat carbs after exercise. Another reason that fasted cardio works well is that it lends itself perfectly to carb backloading. This is a system where you consume carbohydrates only after intensive exercise. By doing this, you are able to ensure that the calories you consume are used to replenish depleted stores of glycogen in your cells, rather than being stored as fat. Double up on these strategies by running early in the morning before breakfast and then eating something with complex carbs when you finish. Take cold showers. A cold shower will not only burn calories directly, as the body uses energy to try and heat itself back up, but will also increase the release of adrenaline and not to mention testosterone. Sleep more. One of the times we burn the most fat is when we sleep, so make sure you are getting enough and that the quality is high too. Walk. Finally, note that one of the very best ways to burn fat is to walk more. Look for ways to fit more walking into your routine and you'll burn fat without tiring yourself out. Top tips that will make eating healthily easier. If you want to lose weight, then you need to start eating less and more healthily. Many of us are not the size we want to be, and the primary reason for that is that we eat too much, and we eat too much of the wrong things. The problem is that it isn't as easy to fix your diet as you might initially expect. Eating right means that you need the money to spend on fruits and vegetables that tend to go off in no time at all, and you need the time to prepare all the food and clean up afterward. If you're going to start eating healthier, then the smart thing to do is to think ahead and to make this as easy as possible so that you don't get caught out by a lack of time, motivation or space. Here are some ways to do that. Get the right appliances. If you want to make cooking in the kitchen easier, then there are a ton of appliances and gadgets that can help you to do just that. A great example is a blender or a food processor. This can be used to mix fruits into a smoothie, or to mix vegetables into a soup. Either way, this will give you a ton of highly beneficial nutrients in an easy-to-eat form factor that will only take a few minutes to prepare. Another good example is a dishwasher. This will wash up your plates and dishes for you after you've eaten, meaning you'll need to spend less time washing up after you have finished and can spend more time cooking and preparing your food as a result. Learn the right recipes. Of course, being able to cook quickly also comes down to having the right recipes. This is why it's very much spending some time to learn meals that are quick and easy to prepare while still containing lots of highly beneficial nutrients and being low calorie. Cook in bulk. Common advice is to cook at the start of the week and then simply heat it up to eat during the week. This is a nice idea, but the reality is that most of us don't want to give up an entire Sunday to cooking. A better solution then will often be to cook at the usual time but to prepare larger batches. This way, you'll have spare food that you can enjoy on other evenings. You can even freeze some for further in the future. Crucially, this process doesn't take any longer than cooking the usual portions. Eat consistently. One particularly important tip is to try and eat more consistently during the day. That means eating a relatively samey breakfast and lunch. While this isn't as exciting as eating fresh and original meals every day, you'll still have the evening to do that. For breakfast and lunch though, you'll now be able to get your food faster without having to count calories or learn new recipes. Weight loss tips that will work well for women. There is a lot of information out there on how to lose weight. Unfortunately, this information very often does not take into account our individual differences or our unique biology. If you are someone who has a slow metabolism, then you will burn fewer calories than someone who has a very fast one. If you are someone who is very tall, then the amount you need to eat is different than it is for someone very short. Even more extreme though are the differences between men and women and the strategies that work best for each. If you are female and you are trying to lose weight, then here are some tips that you might not have read before. Lift weights. The biggest tip that every woman should know when it comes to weight loss is that they should try weightlifting or another form of resistance training. In other words, women should drop the over-reliance on cardio exercise and start lifting weights. Many women worry about this because they think that they are going to get too bulky and that the resultant look will be unattractive. In reality though, it is actually very hard to become bulky, and especially for a woman. What's more likely is that added muscle mass will simply speed up your metabolism. Muscle is what we call metabolically active, and that will allow you to burn fat at a faster rate. In fact, this is one of the main reasons that men lose weight faster than women. At the same time, lifting weight will help women to gain the right proportions, to tone up and to increase their tone and definition in order to get rid of things like cellulite. It will even increase the production of fat-burning hormones. The fastest way to get a more attractive body as a woman is to lift weights. Consider other lifestyle factors, medications and conditions. Hormones play a large role in fat burning and muscle mass, and the biggest drivers here include testosterone and estrogen. So, women are at a disadvantage already when it comes to burning fat, but things get more complicated still when you consider the other factors involved, things like the menstrual cycle for instance, which causes hormones to fluctuate at different times of the month. More of an issue is the role of contraceptive medication, which can cause weight gain or weight loss depending on how the body reacts. Then there are conditions like polycystic ovaries, which only affect women, and like hypothyroidism, which is more common for women. If you find it very difficult to lose weight, consult your doctor. And make sure that you are eating well and getting all of your nutrients in order to support your body's metabolic function and hormone balance. Finally, note that these hormones also impact on emotional eating, which studies confirm to be a larger issue for women versus men. Keep this in mind and try to maintain your emotional state while avoiding temptation as far as you can. What not to do if you want to lose weight. Nearly everyone you speak to wants to lose weight. This is not to say that they are necessarily obese or seriously overweight, but just that most of us are less active than we should be and possibly overindulge on the sweeter things in life. But if so many people want to lose weight, why are so many of us still not in the shape that we would really like to be? The answer comes down to a number of very common mistakes that tend to hamper our performance. In this post, I'm going to break down a number of those mistakes and demonstrate which behaviors you should look to change in order to make your next diet successful. Be overly ambitious. One of the biggest mistakes that we will often make when trying to lose weight is to be overly ambitious in terms of our diet plan and our exercise. A common example of this might be planning to exercise 5 times a week for an hour at a time. This is a big mistake because it is unsustainable. Even if it works for the first few weeks, the reality is that it is going to eventually become too much, at which point you'll return to your old shape. When looking at any diet plan, ask yourself whether it's something you can realistically do forever. If not, what's the point? Forget drink, butter and others. Another common mistake is to overlook the role that certain less obvious things have in your diet. That is to say that it is easy to remember to eat the right dinner or to avoid cake, but less obvious things like soda drinks, butter on your sandwiches and more can all also have similarly disastrous effects. When I speak to people who want to lose weight, they will often tell me that they're planning to use a certain diet plan or a certain exercise regime, but that they're waiting until life is less busy, until they have bought a fully written training program from a fitness guru, etc. The point is that losing weight is really not complicated. There are some methods that are more effective than others, but ultimately, as long as you are eating a little less and exercising a little more, you will begin to improve. If you want to lose weight and you haven't already started, then it suggests that you are putting it off or procrastinating, that you don't have the motivation. That's what you should focus on. Overlook lifestyle. What's the best way to lose weight? Quit your job. Imagine it, you'd suddenly have much more time, much more energy and much more inclination to train and to eat correctly. Of course, most of us don't have the luxury of being able to walk out of our offices, but what we can do is to pay more attention to the role that our work plays. Likewise, focusing on sleep, on our emotional state and on our routine is also important if you really want to make a big difference in your health. Why you must eat your vitamins if you want to lose weight. Too many people who are trying to lose weight will focus purely on their macronutrients. These are things like carbohydrates and proteins, the basic food groups that we can break all food down into. While this might appear to make sense though, the unfortunate reality is that it misses out some very crucial details. Specifically, focusing purely on carbs versus fats and the calories therein means that you miss the importance of micronutrients. Vitamins, minerals and other nutrients such as amino acids, fatty acids and enzymes all play very important roles in our diet, and they can make all the difference when it comes to losing weight. Read on to find out why and what you can do about it. Energy. When you try and fail to lose weight, you might well find that you blame the amount of time, or lack of time, that you have in a day. In other words, you don't have time to exercise and you don't have time to prepare the right food. In reality though, time is not often what is really to blame. More likely is that it is energy that is the problem. If you have low energy, then you'll find that you struggle to bring yourself to exercise at the end of the day, or that you struggle to stay motivated in order to make healthy foods rather than just binge on chocolate and sweets. Think about it, if time is the problem, then why not just wake up half an hour earlier? Because your energy levels won't let you. Eating vitamins is crucial then, because it helps you to get your energy levels back. If you want to feel more awake and more alive, then eating more vitamin C and B complex vitamins is perhaps the very best strategy and can bring instant benefits. Metabolism. The other reason that micronutrients are so important is that they will actually help you to speed up your metabolism to help you burn more fat and feel more energetic as a result. Take something like lutein for example. This is a nutrient that is often thought of mainly for its ability to prevent degenerative eye disease. What is less well known, however, is that it is also capable of speeding up the rate at which you burn fat. Lutein helps to improve the function of the mitochondria, which are the tiny energy factories found in our cells. Other nutrients that can do the same thing through similar or completely different mechanisms include coenzyme Q10, PQQ, B vitamins, resveratrol and others. What you may not realize is that most of the supplements that you consume to lose weight or perform better in the gym are simply vitamins and minerals. The best way I recommend to get more of this in your diet is to focus on foods that we would have eaten naturally in the wild. Foods like meats, especially organ meats, vegetables and fruits contain everything we need to survive.